Whenever you open the newspaper now or even the television, one thing that you normally find is anti-defection law. Everybody is talking about that. The whole of India is talking about this. And also what is happening in Maharashtra. What is the Maharashtra political crisis? And what is the unpopular thing called as resort politics? What do you mean by resort politics? And everybody in different parts of this country really believe that the anti-defection law should be relooked from a different perspective. So why are the people saying so? In this LearnStroke's ExplainWallah for IAS, let's find out what are the different aspects of anti-defection law. Imagine that I am an MLA from a constituency and I am belonging to a party called X, and I have been working with the party X for some time, and suddenly I decide that I'm just leaving the membership of the party, and I'm not listening to that, I'm not voting for the party, and I'm going to the party called Y. I'm happy. And after some time I believe that this party is also not good. I'm just switching on the party to another party called as Z. What will happen? It was so nice. I can change my party according to my whims and fancy, and as it suits my interest, I can switch the party. As a politician, as an MLA, is this a good thing happening in the political system, especially a country like India? That is the reason why such switching of party from one party to the another party is totally not acceptable in the system, and that is what is called as an anti-defection law. That means you cannot switch your parties according to your whims and fancies. As simple as that. In 1967, the Haryana MLA Gaya Ram switched 3 parties in one single day. In one single day, he switched from one party to the another and to the next party. And that is what the popular statement regarding anti-defection came to be called as Aya Ram, Gaya Ram, or Gaya Ram, Aya Ram. That is the point when everybody started to look at defection seriously. And that is when the 52nd Amendment was created, and in 1985, under the time of Rajiv Gandhi government, what they did is they inserted another schedule into the constitution, the 10th schedule of the constitution by the 52nd Amendment, and that was called as the anti-defection. So according to the anti-defection law and the schedule, it's clearly say that when the legislators will be disqualified if he or she voluntarily gives up the party membership, or if he or she is not listening to the directions of the political party's whip, then again there is a disqualification. And again, if he or she, the legislator, are not voting according to the direction of the party, then there is also disqualification happening. So the anti-defection law takes place, the legislators will be disqualified. But again, as the law demands, there were exceptions created for this law. And there were 2 basic exceptions created. And the first exception was, imagine that in the political party, there is a big split. There is a big time split, and the party is split, and a few legislators are creating a small group. Out of the split, a few legislators are creating a small group, and if that group is 1/3 of the party, then the new members who have created the split will not be disqualified, because that is an exception. And this exception in the political scenario of India was widely misused like any other law, misused many number of times, and that is why in the year 2003, as a constitutional amendment came, this exception was completely deleted. And there is a second exception, that means it is a merger. When the original political party, imagine that there is an original political party and there is a merger between that party, the original party members, and a new party. So imagine that there is a merger happening between the original party, and 2/3 members, the 2/3 members of the original party break from that party and join the new party to create a new entity. Then people say that the merger out of 2/3 members of the original party into new party, such membership or such members or the legislators will not be subject to disqualification. So it's as simple as that, 2/3 members coming out of the original party, forming a merger with another party. In such case, the disqualification will not apply. When you talk about Maharashtra politics, it is always about the Bal Thackeray's Shiva Sena. And you know that Shiva Sena was in power, and it was led by his son Uddhav Thackeray, who was the chief minister. Until then, what has happened is there was a big time split in the ideology of the party, the Shiv Sena. Between the party, there was a big time division, and one faction was led by Chief Minister, the former Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray, and one was led by the present Chief Minister Eknath Shinde. So the basic difference was Eknath Shinde and his followers, they believed in the original ideologies of the Shiv Sena and Bal Thackeray, who claim as the real Shiv Sena. And Uddhav Thackeray's Shiv Sena was actually trying to rule Mumbai, Maharashtra, with a coalition government. What is the biggest drawback of coalition government is when you have to rule the government in association with other political parties to gain the majority. So in Maharashtra, they were actually ruling in association with Congress and the NCP. So according to Eknath Shinde, this was a complete dilution of the ideologies and agenda of Bal Thackeray. He and his group of people did not like the way it was completely run, and that is the reason why they decided to topple the government. Eknath Shinde and other people, they tried to topple the government. They went against the party itself. So that is the reason why people say that there has been a defection happening in the Maharashtra Assembly, and that is the reason why the Deputy Speaker even disqualified majority of the members led by Eknath Shinde, who went against the government. So that was a time when they also challenged it. And what happened is they filed a no confidence motion against the Deputy Speaker. Was this a valid method? Was this a valid step that they took? Anyways, what really happened is there was a split in the party, and that created this is what is called as a big time Maharashtrian political crisis. So how is the defection applying in this? We have to know. And in this context, we should also know what do you mean by the resort politics. Whenever there is situations like this happening in the assemblies, normally what you do is there is a resort politics. That means MLAs or legislators needs to be protected because you have to create that majority. If you lose even one legislator, the government might go down. So in order to protect the legislators, what you do is these legislators in groups are actually taken to hotels, resorts, just as a protective measure so that they are actually safe from the other party. And you will not even believe, in the time of NTR's government in Andhra Pradesh, such a group of people were actually put in the studio of NTR, and they were even shown movies and given entertainments so that they stick with the party lines. And recently they say that almost 70 to 80 lakhs of rupees was spent on the resort politics while keeping the legislators in Assam. So this is sometimes happening in India, and this is what is called as resort politics. The next important question is, should the anti-defection law be looked at from a different perspective for various checks and balances? In this case, let's take an example. The anti-defection law gives the exception of 2/3 or the 2/3 of the members for a merger. So this brings us two important elements. One is the original party, and the second is just 2/3 members of the original party. And according to the schedule and the law, it clearly says that a party, as we discussed before, a party is having a party can have a merger when 2/3 members of the original party will merge with another party. So there is no disqualification, and that is something that is accepted. But the point is, merger of original party or just merger of 2/3 members only. In the Maharashtra crisis, take an example. If you apply the law, you will see that the original party or 2/3 of the original party, that is Shiva Sena, which is the original party, will have to merge with another party to form the government. But you know that Shiv Sena led by Uddhav Thackeray is not going for this. Anytime it will not happen. So most of the Indian political scenario, we come across that the original party clause and the 2/3 majority of the members, what happens is the original party is not joining with the other party. It's only the 2/3 members who actually create a group, and they join the other party. But taking into consideration, so constitutionally, is it right or wrong? The recent verdict of the Goa bench of Mumbai High Court. The Goa bench of the Bombay High Court said that if 2/3 members form a group and they are ready to join another party, then that cannot be treated as disqualification, and the anti-defection does not apply here. Then you can be a qualified person. So this has given some ray of hope to the Maharashtra politician. So is this the real way of happening it? That is sometimes we have to discuss. If the original party, according to the rule, does not merge with the other party, legally speaking, whether they have 2/3 majority, they have 3/4 of the majority, it absolutely does not matter. That is the reason why I said this anti-defection bill needs to have a complete relook of the provisions, whether it is the original party or it just the 2/3 members joining the other party. Now I'm going to discuss about the Supreme Court's angle or the Supreme Court's intervention in such anti-defection matters. And you can see from the Maharashtra crisis that Supreme Court definitely got involved, and they gave an extension to the dissident members of the legislature to respond for the disqualification. Supreme Court actually gave an extension, and the commentators say that the role of Supreme Court's intervention in such cases, when there is an interlocutory phase, that means discussions regarding disqualification is going, it is not right for the Supreme Court to interfere in such matters. And number two, again, there is another problem because the Deputy Speaker has given disqualification notices to all the members, including Eknath Shinde in Maharashtra, and they threw a non-confidence motion against the Deputy Speaker. So again, there is a legal position that when a Deputy Speaker is charged with no confidence motion, does he have the power to initiate a disqualification procedure? In the 2016, the Nabam Rebia case, Supreme Court clearly gave out the verdict that if a speaker is having a charge against no confidence motion is pending, then such speaker shall not discuss the disqualification under anti-defection. So now we have discussed almost different aspects of the anti-defection law and what are some of the important provisions that needs to be relooked from different perspectives. Are they actually going according to the original law which are actually in position, or there should be a complete overhaul of the anti-defection law in India? Because having a strong anti-defection law is something very, very important for the functioning of the political system in India.